Hey everyone, it is Chase Chappell here, and welcome to Week 1, Module 4 of the Facebook Ads Expert Mastery Program. In this module, we're going to be discussing the digital force that is holding you back from achieving your success. Now, this probably sounds totally different. You're like, what does this have to do with Facebook ads or getting clients or making money or running a business? Well, I'm sure you've noticed that it's not just about knowing things that count. There's a lot of people that know a lot of stuff. I mean, their head's full of information, but they just can't seem to do anything with it. They know a lot, but they don't achieve a lot. Then there's some people who don't seem to know as much as others, but they seem to just achieve so much more. So, you might be asking yourself, what does this strange content have to do with Facebook ads and making money? If you remember from Week 1, Module 1, I told you about how this program was made and how it gets such amazing results for people. This program is a perfectly engineered 4-phase system for getting results with Facebook ads. I put a lot of effort and attention and study and experimentation into the art of changing people and getting them results. And it involves us to really look at the digital force that's holding you back. So, social media has its net positives and net negatives. And the positives are you can get business from social media. And you can interact with friends and you can see how your family is doing. And the negatives are spending too much time on social media ends up, taking your focus away and following too many food pages, puppy pages, and really any pages that serve no underlying value to what you're trying to achieve. And this becomes a problem because if you spend too much time on social media, you'll use up a lot of your mind energy, preventing you from making the best decisions when managing Facebook ads. And your emotions become your actions. And social media is full of creating emotions. If you see an ad that is flaunting money, cars, and fame, that's going to trigger an emotional response from you. And if that emotion triggered you to wonder why you don't have those things, and you end up getting upset and decide to raise your personal ad spend budget in hopes of getting more clients so you can afford those nice cars, well, that's a dumb reason to raise your ad spend because it's backed by emotion, not data. And since your emotions become your actions and social media is full of creating emotions, decisions with managing your Facebook ads should not be emotion driven. We need to make decisions on Facebook ads by being data driven. Data driven decision making involves making decisions that are backed up by hard data rather than making decisions that are intuitive or based on observation alone. So, how do you avoid making emotional decisions? Well, you remove the source, and that is called doing a digital declutter. It's removing the force that is actually holding you back. So, why do we want to do a digital declutter? Well, the first thing is it lowers anxiety, bringing more energy and focus into the more important task at hand. It prevents a hijacking of your morning, and it scales back behavioral addiction, and it improves cognitive performance, and it increases productivity. How many times have you, woken up in the morning and grabbed your phone and hopped on social media? I used to do this all the time, and when I would get on social media and I'd see a video of something I didn't like, and then my morning would start off terrible. And that totally affects the rest of your day based off, how your mornings start. And the same thing goes throughout the day. Like if you're working and then social media notifications are popping up and you're scrolling through, there's so much emotions that are built into these these actual apps that they're very technological based and are psychologically meant to tap into your emotions. So the more we can scale back these things and really declutter everything in our digital space, the more we're going to have more success with actually focusing on what it is we're trying to achieve. And when managing Facebook ads, it's not just about knowing the tactics that matter. It's really much more than that. It's really having clarity and a clear headspace that allows us to make important decisions to either edit, change, or pivot with your Facebook ads. You don't want to be multitasking or taking up other valuable mind space by thinking about something else while you're making significant edits. One wrong click or one bad decision can totally affect the results you get. So we must cover the action items we must do today for decluttering our digital space. The first one is Google Chrome, and you're going to want to go ahead and switch over to that if you're not already using it. So the first action is switching to Google Chrome, And you're going to set your home page as the one it gives you, and it should look something like this. And we're going to remove all the shortcuts, and we're going to change it to dark theme. And the reason we're using Google Chrome is because we have a lot more room for customization. We're able to change a lot of things. We're able to do add-ons with Google Chrome, which we'll get into later. And we're going to change to the dark theme because it's scientifically proven that you're able to focus better when you have the actual content centered around everything that's dark themed around it. It puts your eyes and attention more on the center of attention goes to the center. And you can actually notice this with it right now. Like you see how it's dark theme, and then right in the center it's all white. It brings your attention directly to there. And when you're working on Facebook ads and everything's dark around it and everything in the center is actually just your Facebook ads, it puts a lot more focus into what you're doing. So there's I linked below the dark theme add-on that you can use, and some if you have Macs, there's settings to turn on dark theme, and I'll link all that below so you can check that out. And so once you switch to Google Chrome, just go ahead and remove the shortcuts. It'll say like add shortcut here in the center, and you'll notice like when you visit sites, it's going to pre-populate and put stuff there, and you're just going to want to go ahead and keep removing it and just keep it empty, because you don't want to have to. As soon as you get on and like open up your site, if you see a bunch of apps and a bunch of different things that are like pointing to where you could potentially go, you don't want that. You want to be able to choose really what you want to do. So like when you have a bunch of shortcuts showing you stuff, it's going to increase your chances of just clicking on it, and that's not what we want. So we're going to go ahead and remove those. The next thing is bookmarks, and those are actually, bookmarks go at the top of Chrome, and you'll notice them that my bookmarks are actually folders. And what you want to do is you want to remove any bookmarks you don't actually use. And a bookmark is just a website page that you decided to save onto your actual like bookmark bar, and you can click on it and go to that exact page rather than having to search it. It saves a lot of time. But the thing is, if you end up like bookmarking YouTube, it's going to show the YouTube icon. And because branding is so powerful and the psychological draw to colors and everything is so impactful, it can actually take your attention away. If you see if you're managing Facebook ads and you see all these icons like YouTube or Instagram or different things that you have an emotional response to, you're more likely to click on it. So what we do to remove that, psychological behavior is we put them in folders, because the folders are very generic. Typically, you haven't seen these folders before. They're all the same color, and they really, it really makes everything seem like it's on the same level. So your emotional responses really don't get, tapped into in this case, and it really gives you that control back and that cognitive function that allows you to decide, where you're going to work today. So you can break it up however you would like. I recommend organizing them into separate folders. Like resources is where I have all the content and trainings that I learned for them. So this program could be in resources. You could link to your site. Marketing could have, your actual business manager, your Facebook ads links in there, your Google Doc links to your ads and all of your test files. Your power actions could be your, daily to-do list. However you'd like to organize it, put them into folders, and you can actually have drop downs and everything you need. So once you do that, that's going to clear up a lot more space. And websites you constantly visit, go ahead and organize them into there. And if they're not valuable, just don't add them, because this is going to save you a lot of time. And we don't want to be working in multiple tabs at the same time. At most, we want 1 or 2 tabs open. So in this case, it's really going to allow you to, really have all of the sites you can access in your bookmarks, but, without actually having to open multiple tabs. The next thing is add-on extensions. So you're going to remove add-ons. Those are in the top right. You can see them. They have some colors now. Add-ons are really just, extra apps that you can use while scrolling the web. The ones I recommend are LastPass. That's password protection. It basically generates, an ID that essentially is a lot longer. It uses all the characters. It's really hard to crack. And, I really recommend using it because most people, it's not that hackers get control of your information or log into your stuff. It's that people just end up easily finding out what your password is because it's so simple. I've fallen prone so many times to using the same password for so many sites, and I really realized that was a problem. So I decided to start, looking for a good software that could hold all of the passwords and generate unique IDs that would be nearly impossible to memorize or, get into. And LastPass is, a recommended tool. And then I also recommend doing the Facebook Pixel Helper. So anytime you're on your website, you can actually, it's going to populate the Pixel Helper, and it's going to tell you if you have a pixel on the site, and if you're scrolling on other people's sites, you can see what events they're using. It's a pretty helpful tool. The other one is Grammarly. That one's just for, making sure all your spelling is correct. It's very helpful when you're, creating ads and checking if you have any spelling errors. There's more than that you can add, but I really recommend having no more than 3, because if you have more than 3, it's really just going to start making, it's really going to start getting long. And you really don't want all of the add-ons just like taking up most of your screen. The next thing is the home screen, and this goes for your actual laptop, your computer, and your phone. And what's really important about this is it's almost like waking up in the morning as well, because when you wake up in the morning and if you open your phone and you have all this stuff on it, it's going to start, tapping into your emotions. And the same thing goes to when you arrive at the office. If you arrive at the office and you open your computer and you have a million tabs open, all your stuff is open, and you have softwares, you have links, and you have all this stuff all over the place, your mind doesn't even understand where to start. It's totally, the nervous system is in shock, and it's just, your focus is completely lost, and you're just clicking all over the place, and it's like bleeding into the next day. Your days just go on, and they all seem to be the same because of stuff like that. So it's really necessary to make sure that, whenever you get off, you totally empty out everything, close it all out, and whenever you open it up the next morning, it's totally fresh. And when you arrive at the office, everything's just like from the start, you can choose what you're doing. So we do that by removing unnecessary softwares. If you have a bunch of apps on your home screen, go ahead and remove them. You can access them elsewhere. There's ways to access those apps without actually having them on your, home screen. So just go ahead and remove them. Organize everything into folders. If you have like a bunch of images and everything, just go ahead and, pile it all up and organize it, because it's going to make it easier on your life to access these things. Because if you're, creating images for ads, you want to organize those into folders, because when you have it like that, anytime you need to access something, it's pretty quick, and, it doesn't cause mind fatigue and really doesn't stress you out. And have at most 1 to 3 icons, because if you have more than 3, that's just going to be troublesome. So like if you have, I see most of the time either people have like a social media app on their phone in on their main navigation bar, or they'll have like Safari or Chrome or something. Just go ahead and remove that. Just go ahead and move it to another page. You can see right here, like when I open up my phone, this is pretty extreme, but there's not a single app I can see other than the calling app and the messenger app and a sleep app. Because I really don't want to see anything else when I open up my phone, because if I see all those other apps, like I said, all those different colors, they're all psychologically, meant to draw you into them. And as much as you think that you're choosing to click on them, it's really drawing your behavior into them based off how your feelings are with it. So it's really best just to move it to a different page, so that way you never see it initially when you access something. So this way it really gives you back that function and cognitive performance of choosing what you really want to do. And this helps significantly with your productivity and everything. And you're going to change the dark theme on your phone as well, and organize it all. The next thing is the navigation. Remove apps that you don't use daily. If you don't use the app daily, just remove it. And if you need it, download it back. Just and use it for that day, and then remove it again. It's really not necessary. You don't want all these apps on your phone or on your laptop. It's unbelievable. You need to delete as many as you can that you don't use daily. Even if you think you might use it, you probably don't. So just go ahead and delete it, and if you need it, re-download. And you can see on the bottom navigation of my computer, I only have Chrome, I have Slack, and then the others I just can't even delete. I can't get rid of those 2. So Slack's for communication, and then Chrome's just where the main browser that I recommend everybody uses. And if I really need any other app, I can just launch through the Launchpad and go access it. So have at most 3 to 5 app icons, because It's really crazy whenever all these different apps pop up. You really don't need all those to be showing. You can access them if you need them, but there's no reason to see them because that's just going to draw you to them when it's not necessary. So remove apps if you can access elsewhere. So like I said, you can probably access them elsewhere, so you might as well take them out of your view so you don't think about them unless you absolutely need to. Number 6 is notifications, and this one's a big one. This is probably 99% of the reason why people get drawn away from what they're doing or why they lose focus. If you're launching Facebook ads, you're in the middle of you're doing really well on coming up with some copy, you're putting everything together, you're coming up with some great targeting, and then all of a sudden, somebody texts you or says, "Hey, let's go to the bar," or whatever the case is, you get interrupted by somebody, and your typical feeling towards them is outside of the office. It's something that, it's not like a coworker or anything. So it totally takes your focus away. And now you're thinking about two things. Should I go do this? Should I not? So many different things happen when you get disturbed by something. And, if you take your attention away, there's so many studies that have proven even if you look away and do something else for 1 minute that's, totally opposite from what you're currently focused on, when you come back, even though you think that you're focused and you're back to work and you put away that notification, well, the fact that you even looked at it, you're going to have a 15 to 30 minute lag behind what it takes for you to get back your focus. So, the moment you get interrupted by even a noise and it decides to take your energy away and you look away, that actually resets your focus, believe it or not. So whenever you get back to work, you're actually not as in tune with what you were doing as before. As much as you think you are, you're not. So in order to really, prevent that from happening, you want to turn off all notifications that you can. So move contacts to do not disturb. Any contacts that really don't have to do with your goal, just move them to do not disturb. There's never really a reason why somebody, immediately or needs to contact you, unless it's an absolute emergency and that person would be calling you for an emergency. Just make that contact just don't put them on do not disturb. If it's a family member or, somebody like the babysitter or whatever the case is, that's a contact you wouldn't move to do not disturb because you might need to be contacted. But in all other cases, friends or anybody who really isn't, moving towards your goal, those people don't need to reach you immediately whenever you're working on something important. So go ahead and move them to do not disturb. You can always turn it off later, but I recommend having it on because that's really going to prevent those notifications from ringing and notifying you instantly. And you're going to want to turn off all app notifications. And you can see here on the left, I have everything off, but calendar and maps, because if I'm driving and going somewhere and I need maps, of course I don't want the notifications to never show up. And then same for calendar. If I have an important meeting or, something that I know I need to make a call for, I want to be notified for something like that. I don't want to miss those things just by, you just don't want to miss those. So you leave those on, but you can see everything else is off. I even have notifications off, calls. I have everything turned off because you really don't want to be notified. Anytime something that populates on your phone, it's going to strike an emotion. And right now, since we're being data driven, we can't mix those two together. So when you're, focusing on Facebook ads, you really have to have that scientific, analyst, data driven thinking. And if you've never had it before, well, this is the pathway to really developing that side of it. And turning off email notifications is a big one. Emails blow up people's phones and laptops all the time. Even when people leave work, they're still being notified of these emails and responding to them. And it's best just to remove them. And, once you turn off all these notifications, what you'll find is whenever you're finished focusing on the task at hand and you're done managing your Facebook ads and you made all the great decisions and used all of your perfect, mind energy towards it, and you don't have decision fatigue, well, whenever you get on your phone, you're going to have a pretty big list of notifications you probably received during that time. And you're just going to be able to go through it in bulk. It's like bulk edits, you can just blow through all those notifications, just answer them all back all at once, rather than doing it, throughout the entire day, answering every 5 minutes something pops up on your phone. You're just going to bulk it all up at the end of the day. And at the very end, you'll just answer it all, and go through it all. And if you do that once daily, that's going to save you a ton of time, and it's really going to allow you to focus a lot more. And your anxiety and stress is going to go down significantly because you're just not, being blown up all the time by notifications. And you're going to want to turn off all those red badges that populate on your phone. There's a reason it's red. Anytime you see the red one, whenever you get a notification, there's like a little icon that shows like a little red symbol and it has the number inside of it. That's there for a reason. Updates have them, they all have them, and it shows you that because it wants to draw you into that, into clicking it, so that way you can actually take action on what it is. And in most of the cases, it's not important at all. It's really not necessary. So you want to turn off those, all those icons, and anytime you need to update something, you'll know when to update it, because you'll be like, oh, this needs to be updated. It'll be pretty obvious when you need to update something, because when you use the app again, it'll ask you, and then you can do it at that point. But there's no sense in you getting a notification and a red badge showing on all of your apps. That's just going to force you to click on things that aren't necessary at the moment. So make sure you turn all those off. Number 7 is everything. At this point, we covered a lot of, 1 through 6, we covered a lot of good things that you can, take action on. Now, number 7 is really up to you to decide what it is you find value in and what it is you don't. And, it's really time to take a hard look at everything that you follow and everything that, you're a part of and everything that you're in that really takes up your time and takes up your thoughts and everything. I mean, every time you see a page that you follow, it's going to make you think about something, in a very specific way, whether it's like whatever type of emotion is, whether it makes you feel happy, sad, down, angry, all of those emotions carry with you throughout the day. And if you have those emotions throughout the day, it's totally going to affect how you're, managing your ads. And, we're not playing around with the ads, because like it's real money. We're talking about making real ROIs, and we're making decisions, and we're really only wanting to scale and downscale based off data. If we end up changing something based off how we feel, that we could end up scaling down something that is getting an ROI, but just because we felt nervous about it or had anxiety, we ended up scaling back when we shouldn't have. And that really comes from all the emotions and baggage that you're carrying. And so how we do that is we everything. And so you'll only follow pages you find value in. And, unfollow irrelevant pages. Like irrelevant pages, like the puppy pages are really awesome. The cooking is all really cool videos. You see them all the time on social media. There's funny videos, there's memes, there's all kinds of stuff you can, see and follow. But, all of those things are distractions. They really serve no underlying value, and it's really just best to unfollow them. And it's really going to put you back in tune with everything. Like, this is like a great reset. And unjoin Facebook groups you don't engage in. So anytime you're seeing posts that you just don't even engage with, or, you just have no interest in, just unjoin the groups, undo the notifications. If you get on Facebook and you have like 1 million notifications to go through, what do you think's going to happen? You're not going to go click on your ads manager. You're first going to go through all your notifications and see what, who just added you as a friend, who's that, what's going on here. And you're going to be scrolling through and falling into other people's lives when really, you initially got on Facebook to go to your business manager. And now you're going through all these notifications. Like, that's a prime example of, why we are doing this. So you're going to unlike the pages you don't engage with, turn off those notifications. And on YouTube, you'll unsubscribe from YouTube channels you don't find value in. Really only follow channels that you really have great value in and you take very seriously. Because your recommended list on YouTube and all those things, the funny cat videos, like those don't show up in your recommended list, out of nowhere. I can tell you right now, I don't have one single, cat video that shows up on my recommended. I don't have any meme videos. And that's because I've really structured it in a way to where like my only recommendeds are like videos of, investors and high up business people and like, content that's really related to what my aspiration and goals are lying with. And that's because, I've organized it in a way that I only get recommended content that could actually help me. And so you're going to want to unsubscribe from those YouTube channels that you really don't find any value in, and you're going to want to watch YouTube videos in full screen. So many times, if you're on like desktop and you're watching a YouTube video, most people never click full screen. And what ends up happening is, YouTube's going to take advantage of that, because on the right-hand side, you're going to have that, bar of all those videos all those recommended videos on the right column. And, when you're not full screen, your eyes are being drawn to that right side of the screen and you're reading titles. And it's going to take you away from the important video you're watching. And so you want to watch in full screen because it takes away that distraction and really puts your focus into what you're doing. Number 6 is unsubscribe from all email lists. So many people have so many emails and so many notifications coming to them. If the list doesn't provide you value, unsubscribe. And if they resubscribe you and you're getting emails after you unsubscribe, put them in spam. Just move them to spam. You want to have a very clean inbox. You only want information that's coming in that's either A, serving you value, or B, it's actually important for business. Other than that, you just want to get rid of everything else. When you subscribe to these lists from these ads, you really got to be careful in choosing who you're giving your emails to, because if they're not going to give you any value and they're just there to scrape data and really constantly push out information in front of you, think about it. The more you're interacting with other people's stuff is the more that they're making money and generating the goals they want, when really what you should be doing is totally getting off all of those things and focusing on your goals and using your list to gain people and grow that and really putting the ball in your hands and taking control. And that's really where the cognitive function comes into place. Number 8 is workspace. And the first thing that you really want to do is clear off your desk. So many times people have such a messy desk and it really takes up, it aggravates the mind subconsciously and you don't even notice it. So if you work in a messy area or a messy environment, it's really best just to totally clear off your desk and only put the items on your desk that you're actually going to use, like your laptop and, maybe a daily planner. And even that's really optional. You could do your daily planner before you even get to work. And so that way you really only have one thing on your desk. And then, once you combine, 1 through 7, the amount of focus, it's really going to be unreal. When people look at you, it's going to look like you're going to have lasers coming out of your eyes because they're just so focused on your screen and doing the work that you're doing. Your execution is just going to go through the roof. The amount of productivity you'll achieve is really going to be astonishing. So you want to clean up your workspace, make sure it's a very clean environment, and add your daily planner if you want to. It's optional. And then number 5 is really allowing light in your workspace. It's scientifically proven that having good natural light in a space that you're working really helps. If you're in a dark room and some of you like working at night, it's really not good for your nervous system because bright computer light, it's no good for your eyes, and it really shocks your nervous system, and that's going to create an emotional response. And we don't want emotions with our Facebook ads. They just don't mix very well. So allowing natural light will take away that brightness from your, computer, and it's really going to give you a welcoming sense of being able to work clearly. And those are really, the main things that we want to do for a digital declutter. Because, when managing Facebook ads, it's not just about the tactics that matter. It's much more than that. It's having clarity, having a clear headspace, and really allowing us to make important decisions to edit, change, or pivot our Facebook ads. So you don't want to be multitasking or taking up other valuable mind space by thinking about other things. Because, one wrong click or one bad decision can totally affect the results you get. So it's very important that you cover all these action items that we just went over today, because it's really going to help, and it's really recommended you do this before we move on to the actual tactics of the Facebook ads. So here's what we covered today: the digital force that's holding you back, why doing a digital declutter is so important to regaining your cognitive functions and performance and being able to focus, and the digital declutter action items that we must do to get there. So I hope you enjoyed this module today, and I will see you on the next one.